Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Happy New Year's to everybody. Happy 2025. And I have Rosie, Brittany, Roger, all three of us on the call today. And guys, how's your New Year's? And I know we get to talk a lot, but I haven't actually asked you how your New Year's have been so far. How would you say it's going 13 days in?
You don't
I
know how Rosie's New Year is?
I haven't asked her. I was waiting for, I was waiting for us to jump on a call to talk about it.
I think we know exactly how all of our New Year's was. We knew exactly what we were walking into.
Yeah.
Um, our New Year's every year starts with, first of all, it has been a great year.
Mhm.
Everywhere I went, I asked people, what did you do for holidays? They're like, well, you know what? We stayed back home. We relaxed. And I think that is like a new luxury to be able to just sit back and relax and not have to run around everywhere. We helped a lot of people go under contract during holidays and sold some properties. That was amazing. And what uh, what changed is that I'm on the top screen. That used to be Roger. I just realized I was like something is different because I'm not used to looking at Roger right there. My eyes keep going there, and I keep looking at myself. There you
There.
go.
Uh,
Exactly. So, thank you. And every year we start our year by looking at 12-week year. I feel like repetition is the only way we change our identity a little bit at a time.
mhm.
And I'm excited to share with everyone what 12-week year looks like. Our today's meeting was very fantastic. Our team got to look at the strategy of how we do things at a macro level and how they do go down to the micro level. So I would say 12-week year is our theme to begin every year. What do you guys think? Like, what has Roger? I know you have something
Yeah.
prepared for us. Let's talk about it real quick.
All right, cool. So first off, Bree, how's your year going? Pretty good?
Yeah, I'm
Rosie
happy to be
What
here.
is this?
Well, you
Okay.
so Roger was just asking.
Oh,
Yeah. I wanted to know how everybody was doing, not just you, Rosie.
No, but
you know,
remember, we haven't got to join everyone
yeah.
here, and I think they've been missing us, and I know I've been missing everyone.
Yeah,
I've been missing our weekly webinar. I've been missing our coffee socials.
right
I'm
on.
super excited to hug everyone on Friday.
Oh my gosh, that's really so fun. So much fun.
It's coming.
I already had questions coming in, so hopefully we can answer those here as well. So yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right in. So we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk about goal setting for the new year and what actually compromises all of that. So 12-week year, the 12-week year is a fantastic book. And one of the premises, I guess the main cornerstone of the book is to pull ourselves out of actualized thinking. 365 days is a great idea to set a goal across that much time, but it's just so many of us struggle with keeping that goal for that long that it's only logical for us to chunk it down, right? So we constantly met with failure after setting a goal and keeping it for 52 weeks. And the author goes on to talk about how the last quarter of each year is when you see a lot of companies ramping things up. They're trying to close off the year. And so that's usually like a 12-week span, October through December. And so why not just use that logic throughout? Like if that's really the amount of time that you can remain fired up for, right? So and then it talks a lot about consistency, and so consistency and removing ourselves from annualized thinking. And we're going to simplify this also because I really think that it's a great book. What we could do each week, if you guys are open to it, is just kind of discuss just a little bit, maybe towards the end of each of our calls, maybe drop in some more nuggets on the 12-week year, and so that you can use this live webcast as a tool to stay motivated and stay aligned with your goals. So that's what our intention is going to be for the next 12 weeks, is that we are constantly drawing ourselves back into that conversation. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I'm in.
You're in? Okay, fantastic. Now, I am going to share a really sexy PDF that our team has created. I could have never came up with this.
Rosie looks very confused.
I thought he was going to share the document he prepared. I was like, I hope you don't do that.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Oh,
You think I was going to do that?
the photo that Rosie sent me last night.
What photo?
Wow, man, you can screen it.
Oh,
You can
okay,
share your screen like this. This
Oh,
is
this
nice.
is nice.
This
This
is
is
nice. Right?
nice.
Okay, cool. So this is apparently a PDF, and that's why I think that's why the team is so shocked right now, because maybe we haven't pulled it on. Oh, look at there. Wow, good job, guys.
Oh.
I'm not Thomas Edison, by the way. Okay, what'd you do?
What'd you do, Rosie?
Nothing.
Okay, there we go. Actually, I guess this is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
So if we do the things that we're capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. What does this make you guys feel like? I mean, I'd say let's really take our time with this conversation, because there's so many components that we could go over that it might be like feeding ourselves from the fire hose. But let's start small. What do y'all think about this quote?
What do I take away from it?
Yeah, what comes to mind when you hear this?
I think that what comes to mind is that we are capable of doing more, but we limit ourselves through different things, our thinking, overlooking and shooting for things that, maybe is too far away. But if we actually do the things that we should, then I think we would, be on Pluto.
Yeah, right on. Rosie, does this kind of make you think anything?
I was just last Tuesday, I worked with a group of investors, and they're really close people to us. And I publicly shared that I'm going to do 10,000 steps a day. And I've never done that. And because I felt like it was so boring. And I was like, what about it so boring? And why haven't I done that? What would happen if I did it? And I was like, just for 1 week, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to marry it. I'm just going to do it for 1 week. And it's amazing how easy was it to do it. And yet there was this breaking point that felt like a breaking point, but there was nothing mentally or physically painful about it. So I feel like sometimes we don't do things, we make them complicated so we don't have to do them. And 10,000 steps could sound like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? Where I'm going to walk? It's so cold outside. It's sleet. It's rain. I don't know if I want to drive to the gym. But when we just take the first step and just take action with things, it's incredible how we just end up astounding ourselves. And real estate for us is, I think, how we are personally shows up in our business all the time. And how resilient, how much authority we carry over ourselves is how much authority we carry over our business. And I think for 12 weeks, when we look at our people, they have literally shared their dreams and their aspirations with us. They're like, hey, I want to own some property. Everybody has this dream. And then we break it down and we look at, hey, what can we accomplish in first 12 weeks? What can we accomplish in the next 12 weeks? So I think we astound ourselves when we just do things that we're capable of doing.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention something really quickly. If you were setting a 12-week goal and you were tracking your performance over the 12 weeks from today would be April 7th for anybody watching. So if you're taking this video as a moment to create that for yourself, then just remember you're only running this program till April 7th. And if you're curious about when your 12 weeks are up, just text me and I'll give you the date. So if you're watching this 2 days from now, like, I wonder what'll be the date when my 12 weeks are up. Just text me and I'll send you the date. And easy, right?
I have no idea what you said.
I'm glad you guys got the joke. You don't get it? All right, so 12 weeks from today is a date.
Yeah.
What's the date 12 weeks from today? April
30.
7th.
April 7th.
April 7th.
Okay, so you're basically saying, oh man, like that's such a lame joke. Next one.
All right, so April 2nd is when my 12 weeks will be up. But here's one I want to invite everybody to think about. A lot of times what we do is we set New Year's resolutions and we set them on January 1st and we keep them through December 31st. But what I'd like to introduce here is to step into your 12 weeks. And your first set of 12 weeks, why how beautiful would it be if you could design it while you're doing it? You
Hmm.
know, because what happens is a lot of times we set our 12 weeks or we might set a certain time span and we will fall off of our goals or fall onto our goals, or maybe we're not tracking our goals. So the author mentioned something really beautiful in the book. He says the breakdowns usually happen in the performance portion of what we're doing, in the execution. The execution is where the failure happens, not in the planning,
Yeah.
right? So you could plan for something, and then let's say I plan on doing the 10,000 steps every day. And as you said, it might sleet or snow. Well, I need to document that breakdown. Why was it that I wasn't able to perform my 10,000 steps? So I could look back at it and now address my breakdown. So one of the cool things that we're going to talk about today is accountability. So the author says you can hold a baby, you can hold your groceries, but you can't hold anybody accountable. You can only hold yourself accountable. And so often what we've done is we've taken the word accountability and attached it to consequences.
Yeah.
And so now it's got a really bad meaning. And the reason why, and it's not addressed in the book, but it's something I thought about, and I'd love to get your insight on this, uh, is I believe the reason why accountability and consequences go hand in hand is because I might set a goal that is going to impact somebody else's life. Like, for instance, if I set a goal around business and I don't hit it, now all of a sudden I feel bad because it impacts Brittany and Rosie, right? That's how we get a negative connotation with the word accountability. So, what if your first 12 weeks, what if we learn to make promises with ourselves and keep those promises with ourselves before we start setting goals in our 12 during our 12 weeks? Like, we haven't even gotten good about keeping our own promises with ourselves, and now we're breaking promises with others, right? So letting someone else down. Okay, so for instance, if I invited y'all to dinner and I didn't show up, how would you feel?
You didn't text me either.
I didn't text you, I didn't do anything, I just didn't show up
Well, number
because I
one,
because I didn't want to.
oh, first I would be worried. Then I'd be mad and annoyed that you didn't even call. Then I'd
Right.
be annoyed that you invited me to dinner and didn't even show up.
Yeah. And how often do we do that to ourselves?
Yeah.
We do it to ourselves all the time.
Amen. It's not a
If
good
we
thing.
were-
Amen.
yeah.
Amen to that.
Amen. I feel like it's Sunday. Woo! God, wow. I feel the spirit. But now you could tell if I've been to church, right? Because that's
Yay.
oh, hey Jesus. Okay, yeah, all right.
Everybody needs some God or universe in their life. No, it's a really good question. So many times we think that it's just us, like it's only me. I can break a promise with me. But when I break a promise with me, a part of my confidence breaks. My ability to trust myself breaks. And I think that's where we start buying into beliefs like maybe I'm not good enough.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm not capable to do it because I've said so many times I will do it and I didn't do it. And I feel like I think it was Henry Ford. He said, "You cannot build your reputation on what you're going to do.
Mm, what you
So
do.
what if we just told I what if I just told someone, hey, you know what? I'm gonna help you invest one day. And every year I just push the can down the year. What if my client hires me and they say, hey, I want your help to sell my property? And I said, I will sell it one day. So what if Bree wants to help someone buy a property and they're like, hey, Bree, our lease is ending in February. We're going to extend 3 months, month to month. Would you help us buy a house? Yeah, one day I will find your house. Let me ask you this. What kind of business would we run if we do everything one day?
Yeah.
No business.
No business, right? Like, but how many times we tell ourselves, I'm going to do 10,000 steps a week and I'm never, and I don't do it.
Yeah.
How many times do I say I'm going to wake up early and I don't?
Yeah.
I'm going to put my clothes away and I don't.
I'm gonna
And I,
promise everybody one thing. This is gonna be a high level conversation, and we're gonna gain so much from this video. And our attempt is always to make videos that would go back and watch. And I gotta tell you, this is one of those videos because it's gonna give us the components that we need to move things forward. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, well, let's see, we have okay, it's what you learn after you know it all that counts. So there's this idea of periodization. Periodization is taking just one goal for 4 to 6 week period and establishing a momentum and rhythm, a routine in that goal before adding on the next thing. So reason why sometimes we might be overwhelmed with New Year's resolutions is because we have a long list of things we want to accomplish. But how about going 4 weeks and building a routine around just one thing? And I think, Brittany, you mentioned habit stacking.
Mhm.
And so now you could just add the next habit the next 4 weeks, the next 6 weeks. And so now you're having a lot of habits. Now, one of the things that somebody asked me earlier was they said, what habits are you walking into 2025 with? Which really made me think. And when I took inventory, that list was very short. And I'm sure a lot of people can say that about the habits and routines they have as well. So, what if going into 2026, you can just walk in with 1, 2, maybe 3 habits?
yeah. And I think one of the things that I don't know why this conversation is headed in this direction in my mind, but it's one of those things that happen all the time, but people don't openly talk about it. One of the things that I would say is number one factor to build a habit. I don't know why people don't openly leverage the environment. Everybody wants to go so far on their own bandwidth. I mean, you run out of steam at times. Like on day 5, I literally got myself swear cold walking in the sleet rain trying to prove myself a point. But on day 5, I was tired. My body was hurting. I was feverish. I was like, what am I going to do? I said, Rosie, if you walked, you'll just breathe more and you will, oxygenate your body and maybe you'll push through this. And by day 7, my son was on that walk with me.
Hmm.
I think what we don't realize is that number one, doing it with someone is much easier. Like on day 5, I realized I was like, you know what? There's so many days I feel like things are impossible, but I get on the phone call with Bree and she has figured something out. Or Roger just gives me a good news and say, hey, guess what? This worked. I was like, oh my god. So all those doubts just go in a trash because people you're doing it with, they're starting to share their wins. And when we do it, we don't realize the impact it has on our environment. Just one tide goes up and every other tide goes along the way. We start taking, I think, Roger, I want you to take over this slide. Bria, does it make sense? Like, do you see that when we are working day to day in our business?
Yeah, business or personal. I mean, you have someone else there. Even something simple like writing in a journal, gratitude. I was wanting to do that by myself. Ella would wake up
Hmm.
inevitably on the days
Yeah.
whenever I didn't have to get her ready. She
Mhm.
would end up waking up early and she was coming outside to be with me. And at first I was a little annoyed, like, I'm trying to do my gratitude.
Yeah.
Then I was like, that's not very grateful, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And I let her into it. And during that time, it's actually really cool because now in the morning we have our time. I write, she colors or draws, we listen to our worship music, and it's like our little time together now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's been great for me.
That's incredible. Sometimes we're trying to make things, separation creates a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Doing things all on my own creates a lot of pain.
Yep.
I would say 2025 is all doing with people, with people, with people, with people. So much easier. And I would say the moment I hear people say they know it all, I'm running away fast from them because, man, the moment you have to close your mind to the possibility, it means I'm closing my possibilities with you. I'm looking for open minded people. I'm looking for collaborators. I'm looking for people who are committed to be vulnerable and they want to change it all, you know? So, Roger, what is this 3-step process?
Okay, so I'm sure you guys have read it already, and it's thinking, action, and results. And so it just goes into a cycle.
Yeah.
And so the author says that, and this is probably one of the last points we're going to touch on before we, go into a different direction. But the author basically says that all great accomplishment, all achievement begins with vision. And so with thinking, think of thinking as vision, right? And once you've established the right vision for what you're looking to accomplish, that's going to power you through all the fear, uncertainty, and discomfort.
Yeah.
Because you are, if you have a worthwhile goal, there's going to be moments where you have fear or you have uncertainty or you have discomfort. The other night when Rosie was looking to get her steps in, and it's usually after dinner, a part of me is like, hey, screw dinner. That's not even our goal. We don't even have a goal around dinner, but we do have a goal around our steps. Why don't we get our steps in? And so when you are prioritizing certain things and there's a vision for it, then it's kind of like that becomes our priority. And by thinking the right thoughts, we take the right actions and then ultimately get the results we want.
I want to step in real quick here. And Brie, I'm going to need your help on this. So thinking part, I think the one of the most powerful things is accurate thinking. So if I'm giving myself permission to think about my goal, am I thinking about all the ways I haven't done it so far and how I'm not capable of doing it? Or I'm dedicating my brain and my capacity to think to possibilities that I'm capable of becoming? Because if I do, the step number 2 is what we think is what we are going to do. We think what we do what we think about all the time. So if I think about being healthy, I'm going to do things that I'm going to be in alignment with my thinking, right? So so many times I am fascinated, like holidays are working holidays for us most of the times, and we enjoy it, we're grateful for it. um, One of the things that I've seen is there's so many calls I'm on where I'm only cleaning up the thinking of people where they've gathered limiting thoughts from other experiences. It's not accurate thinking. So how many times, if we don't have someone in our life who can knock us out of the reality that we have sold ourselves short to, I can only imagine how limited life would be. And that's the number one reason you want to be around people who make you feel uncomfortable.
I'm going
Because,
to step outside this curriculum to talk
yeah,
about that a little bit.
yeah,
And so you hit on a really touchy point for me, and I've experienced this a lot, is we don't slow down the thinking process enough.
yeah,
So, for instance, if I want to hit a goal, and if I just hurry up and jot that goal and I start acting on it, and a few days in, I'm not interested in it anymore, versus if I'm setting a goal and I really take the time to think about that goal and I ask myself, well, who can I call on? What are the pitfalls that I can experience? How am I going to get through those pitfalls? And that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about in the coming weeks, is how to get through those pitfalls of goal setting of the 12 weeks. And but honestly, Rosie, I think that's true. I think we just don't slow the process down enough.
Yeah. And now Roger and I talk like
Conversation
this.
of.
I tell Roger all the time, like in the morning we meet for coffees and planning our day and all the good stuff. Like when he presents an idea, in back of my mind, I'm thinking, sell me that you're sold on this.
Mhm.
I want to know how sold are you in this idea? Sell me on that. Like, how do I know you're really committed? How do I know this really
So
matters?
sell me on that is a really good one. Another one is let's take a step back. So let's
Slow it
say
down.
my goal is to buy more real estate, and I would say, okay, well, let me take a step back and really see X, Y, Z, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So let's
Like
take
even
a step back.
Yeah, Bri, how about our consultations this year, right? Like we reviewed some of the things in our consultations. We want to dig in deeper. If somebody says they want to buy real estate or they want to invest with us, well, how would doing this align with what's important to them?
Mhm.
Do we know that? Do they know that? Because when things get tough,
Or if
that's
someone
the
asks the
whole.
question, how's the economy doing? Well, let's take a step back and look at what are you really curious about? Because
Yeah.
whatever you're curious about, the reason why you're asking that question, we can get to that, and then we can get to the economy and maybe whatever else comes.
That is accurate thinking. What you just said. That is accurate thinking because that will lead to right action, and
Mhm,
naturally the results will be the byproduct. Bri,
mhm.
what is your conversations look like this year so far with people?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think what y'all said was spot on. Being able to take a step back and not take things for face value, because anyone can say, I'm going to quit eating sugar. I want to buy a home. I want to know about the economy. But truly understanding what, if you were to do that, whatever that thing is, what is that going to do for you? How is that going to help you? What about this is important to you?
Yeah.
And really finding that root cause, as to everyone always talks about the big why.
Yeah.
That is uncovering the big why. And if you were to do that, what does that look like for you? If you were to buy that home, what
Well,
would
why
that
are you not thinking of all the other ways? Why did we just hone in on this one methodology so much? Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because one of the things that we have to clean up as a business on our side too is that we got to allocate our resources accordingly, right? If somebody says they are really, really serious, but they're not, we cannot employ all the resources to the people who don't have the motivation as us, right? So they're going to be as motivated. We got to be as motivated as they are, right? So we can make people do things that they don't want to do. That would be the worst way to serve someone, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and getting good at that, it really, I think, comes with the territory to have to get good at that, right? Now, I did want to mention one thing since we're talking about goal setting and we're talking about goals. I think one of the great conversations to have. So we have Rosie. Which one did you say? Uh, sell me on that.
Sell me that you're sold on
Sell
it.
me that you're sold on it. And then the second one is let's take a step back. And
Slow it
third
down.
one, slow it
Slow
down.
it down. Like
Slow it
just
down.
slow things down. Yeah.
Yep. And the third one is, and here's a great format for a conversation. I think everybody should use it. Sometimes my family laughs at me they know exactly what I'm doing when I do this, but it's what's our goal? What's our goal? And what assumption so let's say I'm helping my son. I say he's got a question. I say, well, let's take a step back. What's the goal? And he'll tell me what the goal is. And then I'll say, well, what are the assumptions that we've already made about this goal,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm looking to buy real estate's just easy for me to think about. So if I say I want to buy additional real estate, that's my goal. What are the assumptions that we've made? The assumptions may be that I have to buy off market versus on market, or I have to do things this way versus that way. My third thing is now I'm going to look at pros and cons.
Yeah.
Right? And after I look at pros and cons, then I get to weigh my decision. And pros and cons is something I think the first millionaire, I think we accredit it to Benjamin Franklin. And so hopefully on our next call, we'll bring some Benjamin Franklin quotes on here and maybe some Charlie Munger quotes from his book, but I don't know. I think those guys have the correct mindset and format to think inside of.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing? This might be jumping ahead to action, but I don't know. Maybe I just need to say it to myself. To be quite honest with everyone.
Yeah.
I think I think that we think all the things, but when it comes to taking action, even if you mess up, allow yourself to be forgiven and don't either get embarrassed or don't feel like, "Oh, I messed up one day, I can't get back on the horse." Like, I think forgiving yourself and then going back to why you did this originally and then take the next day and then do it again. This is
Yeah.
really for myself, guys, okay?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Amen, amen, amen. Just.
Yeah,
Church, church. Listen, hey, about getting back on the horse. If you don't like the horse, you can get on the pony. You don't like the pony, you can get on the donkey. I don't care. Just get back on something.
Get back on something. No, okay, guys. So this is exactly. Thank you, Bree, for bringing that up, because now we get to take the action part, and the whole idea is that we do fall off, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest problem I've seen in real estate. Not only agents, investors, everyone, they just are so hard on themselves that they will ditch the whole idea completely. Start all over. So here's the problem with starting all over. What it is there's a few steps to the process, but these are the ones I remember, right? So we start off with uninformed optimism.
Yeah.
Uninformed optimism says, I'm going to do 100 crunches a day, 100 push-ups a day. I'm going to do all of this, all of that. Well, that's uninformed optimism. And then my next step is informed pessimism. So it's like, oh, I didn't know 100 crunches was going to feel this way. Right? And eventually we hit a valley of despair. And the valley of despair is where people quit. So just keep this in mind for all my action takers out there. If you quit in the valley of despair, you have to go back and start all over again
So,
with uninformed optimism.
so I'll share something with you
How
guys.
painful does that sound?
Very painful. I'll share that pain with you guys. On day 5, I was at 5,500 steps and I came home and I was not feeling well. And I was 4,500 steps away from 10,000 steps, right? I took my shoes off. I was like feeling so fatigued, body was hurting, head was hurting. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to sleep. And in the whole time, you know what I was feeling bad about? I was like, man, the 4 days of freezing my ass is gonna go in the ditch. I was like, man, Rosie. And I was like praying. I was like, God, do some magic. Like, help me borrow some motivation. Help me borrow, figure something out. And my son walked into the room. I said, son, I was 4,500 steps away from maintaining my commitment. And I feel so bad. I like just literally started like crying for help, and they both actually went for the remaining 4,500 steps with me. And the only reason I was walking is because they were walking. I was like, they're walking, I can walk.
Well, her goal meant so much to us, and that's one thing I want to go back and reiterate to everybody else. So in beginning of our real estate career, there was this really cool letter. And if you text us, we can somehow find you and send you a copy. But it was a commitment letter, a 90-day commitment letter to our family members. And it was saying that, hey, look, I'm taking these really aggressive goals on, and I'm going to experience a lot of breaking points, and just know I need your support, love and support. And so we would get our family members to sign off on it. And but there's a lot of things that go into this, and more than likely we're not going to do a lot of them. Look, 12-week year, this is my 4th year reading this book, and I can tell you the place that I read it from, those first 4 years, isn't where I'm reading it now, right? So the place where I'm reading it from now is I've set that, what is the date 12 weeks from now. Before I was just trying to grasp all the theories and trying to really analyze why I can't sustain my New Year's resolution. But this year is a little different for me. So I want to implement all of the stuff that I've been learning for the past 4 years and allow Rosie, myself, and Brittany to be here as a support system for you. So if you have a goal and you're experiencing a breakdown, or maybe you're not, maybe you're wanting to share your success, you can text any one of us and we'll be glad to help you through that, or even just have a conversation. And so just remember, start small, set a goal for what 12 weeks out from today is. And how about your first go around in your 12 weeks? Just take on something really small for the first 4 weeks. How about getting in the habit of tracking? So the first few days of my goal setting, I haven't tracked, right? I'm doing those activities. I'm doing those activities because they feel good and they're part of my resolution to do better, but I haven't necessarily gone somewhere and tick mark them off. Now, one of the goals that I think can serve me really well going forward, and making it public helps. I'm going to track just a handful of things. Maybe, you know what? I'll track 2 things. Am I doing these 2 or 3 things, right? I thought 2 things, and I was like, wait, I'm already doing those 2 really well. I probably could do 3, so let's do 2 to 3 things. Let's track 2 to 3 things daily.
Man, it helps to have a spouse that can call your BS out publicly. I was like,
Well, why
2
don't you?
things?
Because I wouldn't mind
2
you
things?
telling me what that
So
is.
let's going to that next point, right? Like, okay, we are tracking. How can we create an environment where we don't give ourselves excuses of not doing something? So I think the next part of our conversation goes into the strategic blocking. We talk about it all the time in our business. And I feel like, it's about time we hand it off to our clients and our partners as well, because everyone can benefit from this. So, Roger, would you share with us the blocking, the time blocking?
Actually, I would prefer that you talk about this, because
Okay.
here's the thing. Yeah, we all have our different take on this, but I would love if you talked about it.
Okay. So I didn't get to type it all the way because I was finishing it for y'all. So
Mhm.
we only did 2 of them, but I promise I will send the PDF out. So there are basically only 4 types of blocks out there: strategic blocks, buffer blocks, breakout blocks, and performance time. So strategic block is like, okay, maybe this is something I actually learned how to do it better rather than breaking it down every single day. So once a week for 3 hours, I'm going to work on what my week is going to look like. What is the one skill I want to get better at? So whatever the strategy is it something that's going to solve the problem for my customer, or is it going to differentiate me as a business from the remaining businesses, right? So what is the one thing I can do for 3 hours without any emails, phone, text messages? I don't care. My kid cannot even find where I am. So that's like a strategic block. That's what sets the strategy up. These are the kind of things you get to do so that you do your have tos much easier. Then the next one is your buffer block. Your buffer block is basically, your emails and your voice messages and text messages. Like I tell my team all the time, I said, if I am responding to your messages, then I'm not doing high dollar productive activities. So I have my time blocks at 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, where I break away and I answer all the emails, text messages that are coming to us. Now, people are like, okay, what are you doing in between all of that? If you're only going to respond to the messages at 11, 2, and 4, what's happening in between that? In between that, I'm performing. I'm performing for my business. I'm performing for my people. This is the time where we are doing things that are going to move the needle for us. Negotiating a contract, solving a problem, re-strategizing the second level conversation for someone who's going to now buy. We have figured out what the hang up was
We're
in the last.
talking about buffer blocks, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, buffer blocks. Buffer
So,
block
I
is
think for a lot of people, it might translate to answering emails, texting, or something that they can get done really quickly.
that's
And
buffer block.
buffer block, yeah.
That's a buffer block. I was
Mm.
talking about after buffer block, whatever time is in between is your performance time.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Now, breakout blocks is simply where you break out and you do whatever you want, something that just refreshes you. You know, you go for a walk, listen to music, go for a ride, read a book, whatever it is. You give yourself a flex time to do whatever you want. And you know, guys, and this has never failed. I end up being most productive in my breakout blocks. I end up doing things that I don't want to do on the breakout blocks because it's almost like you give yourself freedom to do anything. And what we all want is have few disciplines in life to enjoy being lazy. On
Well,
that note,
Rosie, I think you probably are hitting on something big because you're giving yourself the freedom, right? So you're giving yourself freedom, and that freedom is necessary to think outside the box.
yep,
And so now, when you're in your breakout time, you're like, I know what I can do, and the
yeah.
ideas are flowing to you in that moment.
Yeah, because in the moment I'm thinking, okay, my next flex time is going to be compromised if these things are not done. All right, let me just schedule that. Let me just get this done. Like all those things get done and we feel free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not about doing things. I don't know, Roger, I think it was you who was mentioning this. We just
probably.
have to do things as simple as possible, but not any simpler, you know? So
Well, that
sometimes,
was Albert Einstein, but I appreciate it.
well,
Okay. Anyways, hey, so let's quickly. First off, I really enjoyed the call. I think this is exactly what we build on, right? All of our success is going to be built on our thinking, and so if we can reinforce our thinking with these kinds of thoughts, we can only do better work. And it's going to be a fun 2025. I can already tell. So, guys, we do have coffee social this week, Friday. It's going to be at Easy Tiger. And one of the messages I got was, is it going to be outside or inside? And
inside.
no, it's going to be outside actually. But they have the heaters on. And plus, it's going to be really nice. Okay, inside, fine. But if you guys think it's really funny, we
We
go
went
inside.
to the location and we checked upstairs.
Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha. Okay, guys. So it is inside, it's upstairs. If you
TBD,
can't,
bring a coat.
yeah, if the upstairs is already taken, right? So I think it'll be a beautiful day. I think the high is 64, low is 55. So I don't think it's going to be that chilly on Friday. Anyways, we do have a beautiful lounge area that we can sit in and have these conversations. Number two, we are going to an economic forecast tomorrow, and we're going to bring back all the news for you next Monday. So we have, for anyone who hasn't noticed, today's not Thursday, today's Monday, and we typically used to do our market updates the previous season. We're doing it on Thursdays. This year we'll be doing them on Mondays. And anything else that you guys really
Coffee social, one more time. We're
coffee
going to post the
social?
location. Guys, this year is going to be very strategic, very, very powerful. And we're going to slow things down so we can speed up our execution. So I'm excited to see you guys on Friday. Bree can't wait to give you all a hug. I can't wait to give you all a bigger hug on top of that hug.
I'll give you a handshake. I'm kidding.
So sweet.
Anyways, yeah, no, so it's going to be a really exciting year. I think we're going to have a lot of good news to share here. Anything else you guys want to mention? Anything about the market? Uh, anything at all before we wrap up?
Well, the market bottom line is this: everything sold. Everything sold. Like everybody's properties that have been sitting on the market, all our investors and everything got under contract, got closed. There's way more optimism. I'm saying, guys, this is your last tail end. Grab your real estate. Grab your
Beautiful.
real estate. I don't know what to do after 2026. Let me and once again, our
So, what
sincere.
are some of the things that we'll be talking about? Coffee Social. We'll be talking about goal setting, obviously.
I'm
We'll
going
talk
to talk
about,
about the growth strategy of the business.
we'll talk about running a more powerful
More
business
powerful
because all
business,
of us are
growth
business
strategy,
owners.
the
If
pitfalls of what we run into. We're going to
if
give you
you're looking
hacks
to
of
buy real estate to rent it out, or you're looking to buy real estate to make money off of, allow to appreciate, you are in business. And so let's talk about business strategies, have high level conversations. What else? Business planning will be next October. That was fun this past October, right?
Yep,
So
yep. We have
a lot
systems
of the
and
things that
tools.
made last year successful, we're going to bring those back this year.
Yep. Beautiful.
All right.
Well, on that note, guys, Bree, anything else you want to add?
No. Look, I actually have some good investment properties that I have been sending. So please, please, please look at your email because there's been several really good deals.
Well,
Oh,
everybody, do me a favor. Next time you see Bree, ask her, what is mosquito?
Hey, Bree. On that note, we'll get back to the mosquito part on Friday Coffee Social. But guys, when are we gonna do the home tour? I'm excited about another home tour.
Oh, yeah. Well, when's it going to happen?
Hey, so Rosie showed me the
Guys.
property that we went and visited with the for sale by owner.
Uh-huh.
And guys, if you weren't there, you had to be there. This guy was he was so funny. I hope
The property is sold, though. The property is sold. If y'all want to know how much we sold that property for, call us. Meet us on Coffee Social.
So just to give you some funny highlights of that house tour, the guy pulled in his Mercedes so fast, he almost ran some of us over. There was about 10 of us out there. And then we found his pipe in the kitchen that he forgot
I
to
thought it was a dog toy.
Yeah, we thought it was a dog toy. How funny. So guys, if you're
Guys, this is
put
so
that stuff
fun.
up. Put that stuff up. Make it easier for us to sell your property. You know.
All right, guys. Don't forget to show up at Coffee Social and hashtag Bree.
Mosquito.
Mosquito?
2025.
All right.
All
Well,
right, guys. Have fun. Love y'all.
Bye.
love you guys. Bye. Take care.